And as he fulfills his destiny, he learns to become a man.
These aren't just his favorites. They shaped how he performs, thinks, and creates. At 62, Johnny Depp finally revealed 6 films that defined his life. One has no dialogue. Another is barely known outside Europe. And the last? It explains everything about his strangest roles. Let's start with number 6, The Pope of Greenwich Village.
One decent break away from the big time.
When we leave the city, I'm gonna leave as an owner.
Do you ever think we don't have to own the restaurant to move to the country, Charlie?
You'll never get your own joint like this. Never.
In 1984, a modestly budgeted crime drama hit American theaters with little fanfare. The Pope of Greenwich Village, directed by Stuart Rosenberg, was released on June 22, 1984, and barely broke even at the box office. Yet, to Johnny Depp, it's something close to sacred. He's described it as perfect cinema and has singled out Mickey Rourke's performance as unbelievable, a phrase he rarely uses publicly. The story follows 2 working-class Italian-American cousins in Manhattan, Charlie Rourke and Paulie, Eric Roberts, who get entangled in a small-time heist that spins violently out of control. Set in the real Greenwich Village of the early 1980s, the film captures a vanishing New York. Diners with cracked tiles, empty sidewalks before gentrification, and characters that talk like they grew up on Sinatra and Survival. But why would Depp, a man known for surreal roles in fantasy films, be so deeply moved by something so street-level and real? It goes back to performance. Depp has said that Rourke's portrayal taught him more about emotional restraint than any formal acting class. In fact, before filming Donnie Brasco in 1996, Depp revisited this movie several times. According to studio insiders, he kept a personal VHS copy in his trailer. Here's the historical context. In 1984, Eric Roberts earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Drama for this role. Roger Ebert gave the film 3.5 stars, praising its authenticity and pacing. Despite limited commercial impact, it's since gained cult status, particularly among actors. Few know this. Depp owns a rare 11 by 14 production still from the film, signed by Rourke, kept inside his private editing suite in Los Angeles. He's never shared it publicly, not even on social media. That's not admiration, that's influence. And what's coming next on his list couldn't be more different. It's magical. It's Eastern European, and it floats. Next up at number 5, Time of the Gypsies.
Bound by poverty and tradition, a family endures as they have for generations.
In 1988, a Serbian film stunned critics at the Cannes Film Festival, not with effects or budget, but with raw, dreamlike power. The film was Time of the Gypsies, Dom za Vyšaj, directed by Emir Kusturica, and it would go on to become one of Johnny Depp's most cherished cinematic experiences. Depp first saw the film in the early 1990s during a private archival screening at the Cinémathèque Française in Paris. He had no expectations, but by the time the credits rolled, he reportedly sat in silence, emotionally wrecked. He would later describe Kusturica as a visual poet, and the film itself as pure magic and pain on the same screen. The story follows Perhan, a Romani teenager with unexplained telekinetic abilities, slowly dragged into a criminal underworld. But this isn't fantasy. It's a surreal tapestry of Balkan folklore, Catholic guilt, and post-communist disillusionment. Released on November 21, 1989, and later aired as a 4-part series on Yugoslav TV, it broke form and expectation. Kusturica won Best Director at Cannes, and the film became Yugoslavia's official entry for the 1990 Academy Awards. While it wasn't nominated, the British Film Institute later listed it among the 100 World Cinema Essentials. Depp, drawn to characters shaped by loss and moral tension, saw himself in Perhan's wide eyes and slow undoing. He owns a hand-bound English translation of the original Serbo-Croatian script, commissioned in Prague and never commercially released. According to a German interview in 2005, Depp said, "This film taught me that pain can be poetic if you shoot it honestly." He even made an unannounced appearance at Serbia's Kustendorf Film Festival in 2010, held in a wooden mountaintop village, Costa Rica, built with his own hands, just to shake the director's hand. And from a Romani tragedy soaked in myth, Depp's next favorite is an animated satire that roars from a swamp wrapped in sarcasm and fairy dust. Rolling in at number 4, Shrek.
Kiss the princess. She turned into a beautiful ogre, and they lived happily
Ever.
after.
In 2001, a green ogre flipped Hollywood upside down, and Johnny Depp took notice. When Shrek hit theaters on May 18, 2001, it didn't just charm audiences, it reshaped the future of animation. For Depp, who has long gravitated toward outcasts and misfits, the story of an anti-hero living alone in a swamp struck a surprisingly deep chord. Depp first saw Shrek during a private screening in Los Angeles arranged by DreamWorks for actors and press weeks before its U.S. premiere. According to insiders, Depp laughed throughout and called it smart, subversive, and perfectly cast. He later praised the film's clever writing and described Eddie Murphy's performance as comedic jazz. The film grossed over $487 million worldwide, won the first ever Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, and beat Pixar's Monsters, Inc. in the process. But beyond its box office success, Shrek poked fun at the very fairy tale formulas that Hollywood had depended on for decades. It parodied everything from Robin Hood to Disney's princess tropes, something Depp found both refreshing and oddly aligned with his own offbeat career choices. So why does Depp, a man who's played one of the world's most iconic animated characters himself, admire this film so deeply? It's because Shrek didn't play it safe. Just like Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow 2 years later in Pirates of the Caribbean, 2003, the film embraced weirdness and won big. Depp is known to have watched the film multiple times while preparing for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005, analyzing the vocal rhythm and energy of animated performances. One little-known detail? He once gifted a Shrek DVD along with a hand-drawn ogre sketch to a terminally ill fan through the Make-A-Wish Foundation in 2007. It wasn't just a fan favorite, it was personal. But if Shrek made him laugh, the next film did the opposite. It made him cry again and again. Coming in at number 3, Finding Nemo.
Hey, come back. Come on back here.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
When Finding Nemo released on May 30th, 2003, it didn't just break records, it broke hearts. But for Johnny Depp, already a father of 2 at the time, the film hit a nerve most people never saw coming. He first saw the film at an advanced private screening hosted by Pixar at the ArcLight Hollywood. Depp attended with his daughter, Lily Rose, who was just 4 years old then. According to a 2005 French interview, he quietly wept during the scene where Marlin, the clownfish father, realizes he may never see his son again. He later described the film as a masterpiece of emotion wrapped in adventure. Finding Nemo earned over $940 million at the global box office, became the highest-grossing animated film of 2003, and won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. But its real power was its emotional truth. A story about a terrified parent desperately searching for a child is something Depp has said felt alarmingly real to him. Why would an actor known for playing pirates, mad hatters, and outlaws connect so deeply with a children's film? Because this wasn't about spectacle. It was about protection. When Lily Rose was hospitalized in 2007 for a serious illness, Depp later referenced Finding Nemo as a film they rewatched together during recovery. It reminded them, he said, that fear is only the beginning of love. Visually, the film was groundbreaking too. Over 2 million individual coral textures were rendered, and animators studied marine biology for over 3 years. Depp, a longtime ocean lover, reportedly consulted Finding Nemo's behind-the-scenes materials while voicing Rango in 2011. One little-known fact: Depp keeps a small frame production cell from the film's opening reef scene in his Paris home studio. But before computer animation, there was Technicolor. And Depp's next favorite film is a timeless one, straight from a Kansas tornado, climbing to number 2, The Wizard of Oz.
Kansas. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? Who, me? I'm not a witch at all.
It's hard to overstate the impact of The Wizard of Oz. Released on August 25, 1939, the film became a cultural landmark, not just in American cinema, but in global storytelling. For Johnny Depp, who's always leaned toward the whimsical and the outsider, this Technicolor fantasy was more than a childhood favorite. It was the origin point. Depp first saw The Wizard of Oz at age 6 during a community theater screening in Owensboro, Kentucky. His mother reportedly took him as a way to calm his restlessness. It worked. Depp later said, "That movie showed me what magic could look like. I never came back from Oz." The film was adapted from L. Frank Baum's 1900 novel and directed primarily by Victor Fleming, though George Cukor and King Vidor also contributed. It was among the first movies to use Technicolor, and its use of sepia tones transitioning to color became a milestone in cinematic history. The production took over 6 months, employed 600 crew members, and cost $2.8 million, an enormous budget for its time. It didn't immediately succeed. The film earned just $3 million during its initial run, but a 1956 CBS television broadcast introduced it to over 45 million Americans in a single night. It was after one of those re-airings in the 1970s that Depp rediscovered it, this time taping it off television and watching it repeatedly on VHS. So what keeps him returning to Oz all these years later? It's not just nostalgia, it's design. It's the idea of stepping into another world and seeing it shift your identity. Depp has credited the film's blend of joy, fear, and transformation as major inspiration for Edward Scissorhands and Alice in Wonderland. And few fans know this. He owns an original MGM publicity still of Judy Garland in costume, acquired from an estate sale in 2002, quietly framed behind his writing desk. But if The Wizard of Oz was about finding home, his #1 film is about surviving in exile, with a bottle, a coat, and no plan at all. Finally at #1, With Nail and I.
My father was loaded and asking for some money. Your father's my father, you wouldn't get it. Yeah, that's chin chin.
This isn't just Johnny Depp's favorite comedy, it's his favorite film, period. Released in the UK on April 27, 1987, With Nail and I didn't storm the box office. It crept into culture like a well-kept secret. For Depp, that secrecy made it feel like a discovery, and what he found inside was genius. He first saw With Nail and I in London in the early 1990s during a late-night screening at the Electric Cinema in Notting Hill. He called it the funniest effing film I've ever seen, and has reportedly watched it over 30 times since. Written and directed by Bruce Robinson, the film follows 2 down-and-out actors in 1969, With Nail, an alcohol-soaked nihilist, and his anxious roommate known only as I. Despite its limited theatrical run, the film became a British cult phenomenon. It grossed just £565,112 at the UK box office, but gained a second life on VHS, especially among actors and writers. It's now regarded as one of the greatest British films ever made, ranking number 29 in the BFI's Top 100 British Films. Depp connected deeply with the film's themes of failure, friendship, and absurdity. In a 2010 interview, he said it captured what it really feels like when your life is stuck in reverse. He's particularly obsessed with Richard E. Grant's performance as Withnail. Brilliant, tragic, hilarious. Why does this strange little film mean more to Depp than any blockbuster he's ever made? Because it never tries to be important. It just tells the truth, loud, drunk, and bitter. Depp reportedly flew Grant to a private dinner in Paris just to thank him for that performance. One more detail, he carries a folded quote from the film's final scene in his wallet. "I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth." It's handwritten in his own ink. You've unlocked 6 rare windows into Depp's world. There's just one more door, and behind it is something even more personal. It's time. Hit play and see what's never been said aloud.